Over here struggling. Yeah, everybody pile up in here first. See what we do. What's up, people? What's up? All right. All right. Okay. Black African Power family. I see you, Omar Reed, Black Line Supreme. What's good? What's good? Can't even read half y'all names, man. Whiteside, Saru, Sonny B. Coy. What it do? Waiting on my man Ben to get up in here, man. We'll have a nice interview today, man. A lot of wisdom, not a lot is going to be coming through the building, man. All right, and I need my daggone cup of coffee. Yes, I daggone do. And how the hell I can't? Stream, y'all. Yep. Peace, Black Falcon. What's up, man? What's up, Parker? Timothy Parker. Truman. What's up? What's up? Remove from screen. Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure this out. Invite a guest. What's the What's up, Bree? What it do? What it do? What it do? Make sure Ben got the link, man. Yeah, so you know, for the last 2 days, man, I've been beating the brakes off of the pastors, man. Which I'm saying I'm a master at that. That's easy work. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely easy work. So today, you know what I'm saying, I got one of my good friends coming through, Blak Pantha, and we're gonna talk things religion. We're gonna talk about indigenous culture. I'm gonna let him do his thing, man. He's a Massey clan warrior. He started the Massey clan with me. He's a hell of a leader, man. And hell, started out me inspiring him. You know what I'm saying? And now he inspires me. There's a lot of value in that, y'all. So that's important to inspire people. And if you inspire them in the right way, you know what I'm saying, a time will come where they will inspire you. So it's the legacy. It's the African legacy, man. If I can't keep it, lest I give it away. So yeah, Brother Panther is he's a practitioner, okay? And we're gonna let him tell you, which system precisely and what he's doing and how he doing it. And just, we're gonna get his take on certain things and what he feel about it, man. It's gonna be a powerful interview, man. I forget the brother also has a master's degree. I'm not sure in what. All right, I see he's in the building. I'm gonna get him up in here. Let me see if I can click him in here, man. Put him up in here. Okay, Blak Panther, you in the building, brother. How you doing, man? What's good, man?
Alafia Mandala Bibi Fahudiye. Appreciate the shout out, brother. How you feeling today?
Hey, I'm good, man. That stream, that Zoom was tripping. They had me think I was tripping.
It was your gas station headphones. That's why it wasn't working.
Man, boy, the gas station, I got them from the Kroger.
My apologies. Kroger.
Kroger's a step up from the gas station. Valuable corporation, man. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get this interview started right, man. Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee. Man, you already know what it is, man. It's God killer in the house. And I'm coming to do what I got to do. And I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm standing tall. I'm standing strong. Hey, I'm in Raw Squad up. What's going on, Blak Panther? Mossy Clan Warrior. What it do, bro? How you feeling, man?
I'm well, man. Everything's good. Everything's blessed.
Yeah. So let's go back. We ain't talked in a while, man. I like to go back to our first meeting. And I think it's a learning experience for everybody, right?
Man, you always telling people this story, man. Good
I got you. We got to put this on tape. We got to put this on tape.
It's on tape a bunch of times.
It ain't on this channel. It ain't on the interview channel. Listen what I want to say. When we get frustrated, let me tell you, Ben, when we get frustrated with people, right? Because they not understanding what we're saying, and because they think a certain way, I'm saying it's time that we leave those people alone, right? And some people need to be left alone, right? But it needs to be noted, right, that for the most part, we wasn't raised in an African-centered home, or we wasn't raised with proper methodology, right? We wasn't raised with the tools to decipher, you know what I'm saying, what's real Black information or African-centered information, and what's the pseudo information, and so we take the easy bet, right? So me making this point shows people that we all have humble pseudo beginnings. So you want to talk about that, or you don't want to? I ain't gonna force you nothing you don't want to, Ben.
Yeah, I'll surmise it quickly. I met Ankh, I believe it was 2015, at a vegan restaurant in Atlanta called Healthful Essence. I wasn't there to meet Ankh. I was there to meet another guy. But I recognized Ankh because I used to watch him on YouTube. So, I approached him, introduced myself and everything like that. At the time, I was headed to Kemet for the first time. Tickets was already booked. I was going probably in the next couple of days. So, Ankh being Ankh wanted to talk about evolution. At the time, I was not a subscriber of evolution. I didn't really give much thought to it. I wasn't with it. I didn't think it was anything special. But a conference was coming up called the Evolution Conference. So he showed me his presentation that he was going to give at the conference. And it was compelling. It was real compelling. He had a lot of research in there. He had about 400 slides. But it was a lot of research in there, and I didn't walk away from that conversation being convinced, but it planted a seed in my mind, and it made me take a look at myself and say, I really don't know what the hell evolution is. I had to admit that to myself. What I thought was evolution was actually not evolution at all. So I had to admit that to myself. I had to say, I really don't know this. So let me give what this brother is saying a shot. So fast forward, I go to Kemet for 2 weeks. I come back and I attend the conference where he's presenting, and I watch his presentation. And although he didn't get through all 400 slides, it was still a great presentation, and it made me want to research more. I still had a lot of questions though, so Unc gave me his number. I called him and I asked him these questions, and I came at him on some things. What about this? What about that? What about this? And he took the time to break it down to me. And I remember the last thing. This was my last card I had to play. I said, if evolution is real, then what about Lucy? What about Lucy, What about the 1,000,000-year-old black woman named Lucy? And Unc started laughing because he realized that I didn't know really what Lucy was. And he was right. Because when he showed me what Lucy was, I had no idea that Lucy was a hominid. Because when people mention Lucy, and for people that don't know what I'm talking about, Lucy is a fossil out of the Ethiopia area, which is properly called Dignesh. So I believe she's Australopithecus.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know she was Australopithecus. I thought this was an anatomically correct human like you and I. So he showed me the pictures and the drawings that they have of Lucy, and I was done. I was dead in the water. I had to concede to the point that Unc was right about this, and I was wrong. A lot of people can't do that, but I realized at that point there was no need to fight any harder because I had lost this particular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and from then, we just started building on a lot of things. There was another particular situation where we were running down research for the Egyptians in the Grand Canyon claim. And after we finished running that down, we just found out that it just wasn't true. And again, Unc took the time, ran it down with me, and found out that that was not a credible claim, and it wasn't even a claim being made by a credible community or credible academic body. It was a newspaper in one state that wanted to make that claim for whatever reason, but nobody backed them up on that claim. So those are two instances where I had to concede. I had to say, hey, we ran down the evidence, I done lost. So, that's what he's talking about when he's saying we come from humble beginnings, because at that time, my methodology was not where it should have been. And, you have to admit that. You have to admit where your shortcomings are, because if you don't admit where your shortcomings are, you will never get to the level that you want to be at. And I don't care what you do, whether it's cooking, basketball, computer programming. If you don't admit your shortcomings, you're not going to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
That's period. I watched Kobe Bryant once say, everything that I knew I couldn't do well, I did it 1,000 times until it became natural. So that's somebody admitting their shortcomings, right? I can't go left. So let me practice going left all day until it's normal. You know, so that's the same approach that I took to scholasticism. I said my methodology is sloppy. So I took classes on methodology. I took classes from Harvard online. I took classes from Duke online. I took classes locally from elders like Malimu Barudi. I went around building up my methodology until it was to a point where I could look at something, research it, and figure out whether it was bullshit or not. So that's what I did. You know, those that strive to teach, you have to do that yourself. It's not something somebody can give you. It's something that you have to work through the process yourself and obtain.
So Ben, the reality of the situation is, and this is what I want people really to grasp, right? Like you already had the tools, you know what I'm saying? You already had a degree in science. I mean not science, my fault. What you got your degree in, Ben?
My bachelor's is in supply chain management, and my master's is in project management.
Okay, so we find a lot of people that have been in college, right, and don't realize that the information we was talking about is in a secret place at that college, and it's called the library. You know what I'm saying?
You would think it's in a secret place.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of times people say, "Well, you hiding from us." No, it's right there. It's that we don't have the conversations that allow you to explore your scientific mind because you have a scientific mind. There's no doubt, right? And, and so a lot of us got it already, right? The scientific mind is to question everything. That's a scientific mind,
right?
Wanting to know. Simple as that. So you already had that hunger there. You just hadn't ran across the right dude. So I didn't have to teach you anything. You was already a great, watch this, a superior note taker, right? I don't know how you got any space left on your phone, bro. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. Yeah, you can go back to that conversation we had all the way back in 2015 or 16, whatever. You go back to notes that you had, right?
Yeah.
So you're a superior note taker. That's one. Okay. Two, you are a great listener. Four, my fault. Three, simply, you're not going for the bullshit. You're not appealing to authority. The hell with it, whether it's Ankh or not, right? So you already got these qualities and want to know. So all I had to do was just say the right things. You know what I'm saying? Look at me, you look at me crazy, right? But you already getting to it. And so if you remember during that time, right? Once we all got into the flow, you was going back and forth to Timmy, and you was on your last time to go. And we was trying to get you to go because it would give us credibility in certain circles. Because people tried to use that against us. Well, y'all not in the craft for this, so you was doing that. Luckily, you know what I'm saying, you didn't make that last trip, okay? And you decided, now this is what the gift is. You decided to go all the way into indigenous studies. So we needed a person to do that too. Not just be a practitioner, but to take it to the level where you start to learn certain languages, you know what I'm saying, in that indigenous system, where you get the history properly, you know what I'm saying, and you get the whole thing. You have immersed yourself, right, into traditional African culture. And I want to talk about that because this is important to have individuals around you that are willing to immerse themselves into said things. And your strong point is the indigenous system. And so when we created the Masi, we already know what we wanted, right? We already know how we wanted to do it. And so I got to give a shout out, right, to the Masi and Kofi Pasai research team, man, for putting together that work, Spears of the Masi. You know what I'm saying? Me and you wrote a forward in that book. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just elated, right, and proud of them brothers, right, for sticking to it. You feel me? But we get to that point because of your ability to listen and pay attention and take great notes and push them forward. We come together and form the Masi. Listen to me, yo. And it's a vision. You know what I'm saying? It's a vision that's being carried forward. Those brothers and sisters are carrying the vision forward. That's how we beat the suit up, right? So Ben, Let's talk about what particular indigenous study are you interested in? Where at on the continent of Africa, and why that, bro? And how is it that you're still scientifically literate? So there's three aspects to that.
Okay.
What part of the continent? What's the name of the system? And how in the hell are you still scientifically literate? You know what I'm saying? Being entrenched into an indigenous culture. Go for it.
Well, before I get into that, you said something that's true. It's very I'm very fortunate I didn't make that last trip to Kemet because I would have been on a different path. Uh, and because I got redirected, so to speak, I ended up looking at West African systems. And that was just my thing. At the time, I was a member of the Amarab squad, and you know, Kemet was the main topic. Had brothers reading Medu had brothers, breaking down the text, debating different topics on Kemet. And I just felt like y'all had enough of that. You didn't need me for that. Uh, you know, so I decided to go in a different direction. I decided to go to West Africa and learn the things over there. I already had like a base, but I decided to, like you say, immerse myself in the tradition. So the tradition that I practice today is called Isheshe, or you'll hear people say Isheshe, Isin, Ibile. Uh, Basically, that means the primordial tradition of the land. The system that I'm talking about, you'll hear a lot of people say Ifa. Uh, that's not quite correct. I know why people say it, but we say Isheshe because that is all encompassing. When people talk about Ifa, whether they know it or not, they're really only talking about Orumila, which is one Orisha. Every one of these Orishas has their own system, songs, praise poetry, Oriki, or Ijuba, so on and so forth. So to call it Ifa is kind of a misnomer. But people call it that because you can learn about other Orishas from Ifa, even though it's not a name that I would have for the entire system. So we say Isheshe or Isheshe Lagba, which means the tradition, the primordial tradition will always remain with the people. And you'll just hear certain phrases with Isheshe in it. Isheshe basically means primordial. It is from Nigeria, southwestern Nigeria, to be exact, because Nigeria has many systems. And I've been initiated into this system for about a year. I've been practicing for about 5 years. Um, the reason why I can stay scientifically literate, even though I practice an indigenous system, is because they're not enemies. I don't know why people think that they are, but for some reason that seems to be popular. Um, I tell people all the time, science is an African thing. It comes from African people. It is something that we originated.
Facts.
They don't have these papyrus and these mathematical um, findings and all of these medical cures. They don't come from nowhere. They come from Africa. So to be anti-science is to be anti those discoveries from your ancestors. The Rhine mathematical papyrus, the Brembire papyrus. When you go on the math side, the Ishango bone and the Mumbo bone. That was all African traditions. Nobody taught them that. That's something they came up with. When you go to my tradition, we have what's called Oogun, not to be confused with the deity. It's two O's. It means medicine. This is the scientific part of our tradition. Because with medicine, there's testing and there's proving. Because if it doesn't work, Why would I use it? So this is the part of our tradition that has the science, the mixing of different herbs and the coming together to make something that'll treat snake bites or something that'll treat fever or rash. That's the scientific part of our tradition. And it's not in contrast with the tradition of the mythology and the symbolism. It's all the same to us. We don't separate it. Only in the West is where they separate, things, and everything has to have its own little, you know, cubby hole, so to speak. But in African traditions, they're all under the same roof. They coexist at the same time. So that is why, you know, I am able to be scientifically literate and be a African spiritual tradition practitioner, or as we say, Kimoyo. Uh, that's the term that me and Brother Asar are promoting because Kimoyo points to the vital vitalism and essence of a person. It's initially talking about the energy, and that is a common theme in African traditions. So we're trying to get away from African spirituality and use the term Kimoyo, which comes from the Kikongo. Uh, and if anyone's familiar with Dr. Fukiao, it's of his system, which is, I believe it's called Kimpasi. He's also practiced Lebo. So it comes from that region. Brother Unc, you still there?
Oh, okay, my fault. Yeah, that spirit thing. Yeah, the Christians brought that into the fold, right? So when you saying African spirituality, it's like an oxymoron. It's kind of like it don't fit. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's not. It's not showing agency, and I think that's what's important. Yep. So that's spiritual right. So I'm glad y'all using that word.
Yeah, it's just hard with
Yeah.
English because there's terms in African languages that I really can't explain in English fully because they don't have a direct translation. And I tell people this as a rule of thumb. Anytime you ask someone, what does this word mean? And it's an African word, and they give you a sentence, it don't have a direct translation. He's just trying to describe it to you so you can understand. But it doesn't have a one for one swap sometimes. So I understand why they, would say African spirituality. That's about as close as you can get. But like you said, there's an element that's missing from that title. And unless you're a practitioner, you really won't get it. But once you get into it, you'll be like, oh, I see. This is kind of different from what they're describing.
Mhm.
But that's a lot. But that's just English, because it's not the native tongue in which the system was born in. So there's going to be some problems. We've seen that even with Egypt. The Greeks translated it how they wanted to translate it, and then we go back and be like, that's not really right. But that's the best they could do. So sometimes we just got to do the best we can, and build upon the differences later.
That's a fact. That's a complete fact. So okay. So what? You've been a Christian before, right? To you in your mind,
Yes.
what is the difference between the African systems, right, and
Mm-hmm.
the Christian system? I think you was a hardcore Christian too, weren't you, Ben?
I wasn't a hardcore Christian, man. There was a part of me that never really bought Christianity. I kind of just went along with it because of my mother,
Yeah.
and we went to a non-denominational church, so it wasn't very strict and rigid, and they had different people in there that practiced different things. So that made me feel a little bit more comfortable, but I never really got down with the hardcore, this is 100% true Bible thing. I don't know. I really can't explain it. I just couldn't accept it. I had too many questions. I got thrown out of Sunday school plenty of times. Asking too many questions. you know. Um, that was just what it was.
Oh, man.
But to say what is the difference? So a main difference is Christianity is structured, it's rigid, it's God's word, Bible. This is how it's going to be. This is how it has to be. There's no room for evolution or change or complementing one's environment. It's very structured. That's not how, most Kimoyo systems are. There's room for substitutions and change and things we have to do because we're in a certain environment. And we have evidence of that. Because of the transatlantic slave trade, some of these systems went to other parts of the world where they adapted to where they were. So this is why you see different things of branches of the system that go different places because it evolved based on where they were. For example, there's a divination called Obi or Obiabata, in which they use cola nuts in West Africa. But when you go to Cuba, where some of our ancestors were dropped off, those cola nuts don't grow there. So what did they have to use? They had to use coconuts. So that's an adaptation, right? That's something they had to adapt to. That's something you don't see amongst the three monotheistic religions. They're very set. There's no debate. You have to do it this way or else, and that's one of the main differences I see. Other than you don't have to do any work either with a lot of these monotheistic religions, particularly Christianity. You accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you go out on Saturday and do acid and coke and drug of choice.
You went to the hard drug, yo.
And then you go on Sunday and accept him as your Lord and Savior, and everything's good. Or if you're a Catholic, you confess, and everything's all right. It's an interesting dynamic, but that's what they do.
So
for African for Kimoyo systems, it's a way of life. You can't take it off. It's not like a coat. You are, once you get to a certain level, this is the way that you live. It's in everything that you do. It's not like something that is just on Sunday or is just 7 times a day or is just in the synagogue. No, it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your essence. It becomes a part of your destiny. So, that's another one of the main differences I see. And you have to do some work in African spirituality in a variety of ways. It's not just, I'm going to pray for this to happen and hope that it happens. No, that's not how we roll. We don't walk by faith in this tradition. We really don't. We walk by action. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to get off your behind and do something. Even with prayers, even with chants, even with whatever we do, there's an action portion. And that's just what it is. So though that's another difference that I noticed.
All right, let me say this real quick. I want to get in. I want to do some promotion right now, right? But I want to say this, and after we do the little promotion, want to say we want to talk about. We had a very deep conversation on how we have allowed foreigners to misunderstand and teach our systems, mischaracterize them, place certain words and terms on them, you know what I'm saying, that would detract from what the system really is. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, I'm just so, you know what I mean, I just be pumped up when I hear Brother Saw talk and hear you talk, Brother Sean, Kofi, all the crews talk, because, man, you give us the real Africa. There's a pseudo-Africa that is promoted by Buzz Lightyear, you know what I'm saying, promoted by Sarah Stupicetti, and all the daggone pseudos that follow. There's a pseudo-Africa where everybody in Africa was floating around, eating mangoes all day, never bust a grape at no time, never did nothing, had the melanin charge, the whole 9 yards, okay? So I'm glad that you bring us real Africa, right? So we're going to talk about the terms and stuff they used. I think you used a source to peer research. We're going to talk about that after I do a little promotion. So what I want y'all to do is I'm going to share my screen real fast, right? And let me see. All right. Share the screen. And I can get over here. All right, y'all can see the screen. See the screen, Ben?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got the Maasai Warrior Clan presents Spears of the Maasai. See, when you say Spears of the Maasai, you gotta say Spears of the Maasai. You know what I'm saying? How you say it, Ben? Spears are flying?
Pseudos are crying.
Yeah, man. A historical survey of the minds of African warrior scholars, Volume 1. Right now, we're in the workings of working on Volume 2. It's say by Kofi Pantha Research Team. It's fire. Get the book, right? Appreciate the support. When you get the book, make sure you post it on Facebook, right? Do that so people can see that the Spears of the Maasai is serious, all right? It's a lot of information in there, and it's important. So support that project right there. Do me a favor, put that link in the chat. All right, Sister Bree, appreciate you on that, man. Yeah, go make sure y'all get that work. All right, that's a powerful work, man, and is on the A side. All right, and that's important to know. All right, and then while you at it, let me see if I can get this here. While you at it, right? Go ahead and cop a shirt from Abs you wear. Black lives always matter. I'm gonna say it again. Black lives always matter, right? They mattered when the first slave traders, right? Kidnappers came into Africa and kidnapped the first African. You know what I'm saying? Our lives mattered, you know what I'm saying, when we first came Homo sapiens sapien at 300,000 years ago, when we was on the savannah surviving, right? Those people understood that black lives mattered. They understood that black lives always mattered, that every black life matters, okay? So go ahead and cop the shirts, man, all right? It's a statement in there, man. Support the movement, man. All right, we're gonna be constantly doing what we need to do around here. It's just important. All right, very, very important. Okay, so yeah, man. Black Lives Matter. Y'all see the shirts, right? Trust me when I tell you, Black lives always matter. No matter what they say, don't let them confuse you. Don't let them trick you. All right, Black lives always matter. They ain't just start mattering because police is shooting at us. They mattered when they was hanging us. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem, right, with Europeans. Okay? They pick and choose the moments when they want to make something relevant. They pick and choose that. All right? So yeah, Black lives always matter, man. Space age Africans. That's what it is, man. And I appreciate that support, man. And make sure y'all support the Spears of the Maasai. Okay, Brother Ben, let's get back to it, man. Okay, so we was using certain terms, all right, about folk religion. What in the hell is folk religion, and why, when you look up our systems, they put it in the category of folk religions? What's the joke here? Talk to us.
Well, folk religion, when you look up the definition of folk religion, it's any form of a religious practice that's popular that is not approved by the dominant religion or the approving body. So, for example, uh, you have folk Islam. Folk Islam would be Sufism.
Okay.
You know, that's not Sunni and that's not Shiite. So that's not an approved version of Islam. And so in other words, it's like a bastardized version of Islam. They don't
Mhm.
approve of the way that they practice Islam. So for every religion, they have there's a folk uh, there's a folk element. You probably don't know it as such,
Okay.
but that's what it is. So they categorize African traditions as folk religion. Now, what they are saying is this is a popular practice. Many people engage in this, but this is not an approved practice by other religions.
Okay.
This is an offshoot of other religions. And the last time I looked at the Pew Research Institute, I think 5.9% of the world is folk, has folk religions. So listen to what I'm saying. They think your African traditions, number one, are bastardized, not the approved version of the tradition. So look at the slick terminology. They've made themselves, and we're talking about the West, they've made themselves, the three monotheistic religions, the approving authority on religion. See how fast they did that?
Mm.
It was real slick, wasn't it?
Run
You
it back
ain't catch.
again. Run it back again. Run it back. Run it back. Run
So when they say folk religion,
it. Mm-hmm.
they are making themselves the approving authority on religion because folk religion is not an approved version of the religion by other religious practices.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So, really quickly, they made the three monotheistic religions the approving authority. These are the good religions that you should pay attention to, and these other ones we don't really approve of them.
Mm. Man.
That's what they say. That's what
Right.
they're saying. You know, they'll say it as they're distinct from the official doctrines and practices of organized religion. That's how they frame it. Oh, okay. So y'all are the organized, and we are the unorganized. Is that what's going on? That's how they put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we are the bastardized versions of the three monotheistic religions. And I asked the question, how can that be when our traditions were before theirs? Wouldn't that be the other way around? Wouldn't they be termed as folk religions?
Mm-hmm.
But as Baba Amos Wilson says, to keep a people oppressed, everything has to be backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Everything.
I guess this is one of those things. So you can look this up on the PEU Research Center forum. They are the Western's authority on religion. They track people that practice different religions and all over the world. And you will see that folk is about 5.9%. And the rest of the world, you'll see a big chunk of Christians. I think it's like 30%, 23% Islam. Uh, they count Judaism in Christianity sometimes, so be aware of that. But the major thing about this folk religion is they created this category and threw everybody that they don't like in this category. Everybody you think of, if you don't like them, they threw them in this category. So let me give you some examples. Every single African traditional system is in this category, along with Chinese traditions, Native American traditions, and Australian Aboriginal traditions. All of them are in this one category, folk. Now, what do all these traditions have in common? They were around before the three dominant religions. That's what they have in common. So, in essence, if anybody's seen American gods before, we are the old gods fighting the new gods. And the new gods say, y'all too old, so y'all got to be folk and forgotten about. But we the new hotness, so what we say goes. It's a real slick game that they play. But I argue that we shouldn't even be in the religious category at all. And the reason why I say this is because African traditions don't fit the definition of religion. And I cite the source from the Macmillan Encyclopedia of Religions. And this is what they say. They say the very attempt to define religion to find some distinctive or possibility unique essence or set of qualities that distinguish the religious form of the remainder of human life is primarily a Western concern. Listen to this. The attempt is a natural consequence of the Western speculative, intellectualistic, and scientific disposition. It is also a product of the dominant Western religious mode, what is called Judeo-Christian climate, or is more accurately, the theistic inheritance from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Listen to what these people are saying. This is a Western thought to try to categorize everything. That doesn't come from an African thought. We didn't do that. That's why a lot of these traditions that come out of Africa, we have to name them. That's why people have to name it Ifa. That's why we had to come up with Isheshe. Isheshe isn't an old label. It's something we've came up with in the last 5 years, because in the West, you have to name everything. A lot of these traditions don't have a name. They've just settled on one recently. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have done that. You think you knew the name. You think that's an old name. And you go back far enough, you'll be like, no, we came up with that in the 60s. You'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. Because Africans don't have this need to define and label every single thing of their lives. They just don't. And a lot of these words that they have for their tradition, they basically mean way of life. It's nothing special to the name. It's not like a secret name, like when you chant it, something happens. No, it just means this is what we do. The people, the Jola people in Senegal, the name of their tradition means way of life. It's called Etenwa. Way of life, the path. The people in Kikongo have a name. It just means way of life. It's nothing special. It's just what they do. This is what I meant earlier by you don't take this off. This is how you live, which is distinctly different from the three monotheistic religions. So I hope I answered your question, but yeah. I've come up with
that's deep. I like
with a definition of religion of my own, since scholars can't come to a consensus. And the definition that I've come up is a religion is a modern, primarily Western concept and cultural belief system that encompasses belief in a higher power and has a dependence on what's called a volume of sacred law to instruct its believers on morality and faith, not centered around testing or proving. And if you don't know what a volume of a sacred law is, it's a term that basically means Bible, Quran, Torah, Talmud, a book of instruction that you have that basically goes with your religion. So that's what we call a volume of sacred law, because it becomes law.
So, okay. So that's an interesting word, the folk joint. That's funny. And they always do that. And they do it so that you know. So for me though, Ben, I understand the different aspects of religion, right? And there is no consensus on what a religion is, right? So I don't necessarily fight with that type of I don't have to get into that because I think we can safely put African systems within that because there are African systems that don't have gods, they just have ancestors, right? And so that could fit in that. So it's way more broader than most people understand what that term is. Okay, but I
Mm-hmm.
think I think you unlocking why they put the folk on it, folk religion on it. It's interesting. So then, are they trying to say that traditional African systems came from Christianity, or are they saying is they don't know where the hell they came from? Is that what you
They
think?
know where they came from. It's a real slick diss. They're saying we don't approve of your systems, and they must have come out of our systems. So y'all have to be folk. This is what people are trying to say, because it's always moving the goalposts with the three monotheistic religions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the same question comes up. Well, when did your religion start?
Mm-hmm.
And what do they tell you? Since the beginning of time.
Right.
You're always moving the goalposts back to the beginning of time. And then we find out that ain't true. So then we, after we narrow the scope in, it ain't nothing but a few thousand years ago. So then it goes back to the age-old argument. Well, we must have civilized Africans, right? Because that's what Europeans did, right? In their mind. So they really think that.
They really think that.
Yeah. So in civilizing us, they must have gave us their religion and we must have messed it up. Even though we had our own thing going before we even know it existed. And you'd be surprised who subscribes to these notions. Because when you ask people this stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, that's got to be true, right? Because they are using their book as a historical narrative. It's not a historical book. The Bible is not a historical book. Neither is the Quran. Neither is the Torah. Neither is the Talmud. Neither is all these other religious books that come out of the monotheistic religions. They're not historical books. You can't go in there. First of all, there's no dates. You can't have a historical book without any dates. But they used it, the lack of dates, to try to boost or make their dates more ancient than everything else on earth. So they'll tell you that the stories are real and they happen around, whatever time period that they make up. So that would make them older than anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you get the archaeology, the paleontology, the bioanthropology, and we get the carbon dating, the luminescent dating, and all these other datings, and we go, nah, bro, we got all of your artifacts from this civilization, and that's about 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to have those conversations. You don't want to have them conversations because that debunks their premise. I ask people all the time, why do you think they pick the date that they pick for Egypt? You notice they always pick that date of Narmer. Even though we have artifacts that are before Narmer, they always pick the date when Narmer unified the land. Why is that?
That's an easy one. They don't want you to run past the Bible 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. That would put them past the Bible. And we can't have that. Nope,
Can't
nope,
have
nope,
a
nope,
God
nope,
before
nope.
the God.
Can't have that. We got to pick this date. Don't worry about all that stuff beforehand. Don't even look back there. That's not important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
I mean,
it's
that's
little
why they
slick
like
games that are played in the academic community, but you have to be able to apply methodology and then, see it for what it is.
That's part of, and I spoke on this yesterday, and we can get into that, right? The reality is, religion is culture, right? And all the
Absolutely.
things in culture, right? And so if they can
Mhm.
shift you into their culture, right? Because they call you the foreigner, the barbarian, right? Or the heathen. Barbarian means the foreigner. Foreigners to Greece and Rome, they called them barbarians. And they wouldn't allow a barbarian to settle in their land, not unless they was Christians. Not even the Vikings, right? They made the
Right.
Vikings, get baptized, right? So when as we was young coming up, you was getting baptized in racism, white supremacy. And this is
Absolutely.
what I'm saying, like your mind is stuck right there. There's no room
Absolutely.
for growth in that mode. You've already given up on your ancestors, right? And when I say giving up
Mhm.
on my ancestors, I strictly mean that there's a foundation that your chromosomes are built on. Okay, we come from other people. We just don't pop up out of nowhere. It's just that
Right.
simple. So we are a museum of all of our ancestors, right? We are
Right.
we are a storehouse, right, of all the things that came before us. And it's not even complicated. It's a very, very simple and factual idea. So when you're transformed into the Christian mind, right, it's a mental mind test. I'm telling you, it's simple
You
as
just
that.
said something earlier, but we can go to a recent or a more recent action. What about the dumb diverses?
Them verses. What
Any
about
any any nation you find that's not Christian, you can enslave them. That came from the Pope. That's a papal bull right there from the Pope.
Pope Julian VI? You're
So
out of
they're saying
there.
if you won't practice our culture, then you deserve to be enslaved. Let's think about that now.
Mhm.
If you won't practice what we practice and know and love, then you deserve to be in bondage and you're not even human. Now
Huh.
think about your upbringing now.
Mhm.
Because that is that people think, oh, that was so long ago. Why'd you bring that up? No, it's a chain of events all the way to today. You can see the chronology. So when they captured your ancestors, they forced them to be Christians. They had no choice. So we come out of that oppression. We start living in the United States. We're still Christian because what else did we have? They took everything else from us. So your great great grandfather was this. Your great grandfather was this. Your grandfather was this. Your father was this. All the way down to you. Same thing on your mother's side. Who's going to be the one to break this cycle of if you don't practice what we practice, you ain't shit? Who's going to break this hostile takeover? I decided in my family it was going to be me. No more.
Yeah, the buck stops here, man. The buck stops with this generation right here.
Buck
Stops
stops here.
with this people. Yeah, it's just that simple, man. So
Pull that rope on that bus. This is my stop. I'm getting off.
right, so my babies won't, what I mean, they don't have a disdain for traditional African
Right.
spiritual systems.
Right.
They understand it as cultural, and I
Right.
gave them the choice, right, to practice what you want to practice, but you got to know the truth, right? I implemented scientific literacy, and so my kids, what I'm saying, they don't look at that. They look at it as, well, okay, we learn African culture. It's not it's not a big deal for them. It's not oh my goodness, it's none of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think culture is the mold by which human beings see the world. So we've been seeing the world
Mhm.
through European lenses. We've taken away our
Exactly.
agency. But I would like to say this though, Ben, and I want you to speak to it. Absolutely. People say, well, why? Well, okay, why did the people, when they enslaved us, why did we, if our religion was right, why did we change? The reality is those first slaves on the plantations, man, they wasn't Christian. They didn't listen. They fought it. Okay, let's get this. Let's establish a fact. They fought
Absolutely.
it all the way. As a matter of fact, they not only fought it, right? They used Christian. They played the game of Christianity. They act like
Yeah.
it was Christians and it wasn't. They
Right.
gave them time to congregate at the church where they would have meetings around how they gonna get away. You know what I'm saying? They would have meetings around keeping their custom, their traditions. As a matter of fact,
Mhm.
they hid the traditional system so well within Christianity that later on generations will look back and say, hey man, they was Christians.
Yeah,
Okay?
this is why we have Santeria and Regla de Ocha amongst the Lukumi people, and this is why we have Haitian Voodoo, and when you go there, you see all those Catholic saints and everything like that. That's why we have that, because they were hiding it within the Christian religion.
Fact.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. They even did it with Islam.
Hey Ben, hold on. Let me say this. And I'm gonna let you speak on it because you've traveled to the continent many times. Whether y'all like it or not, right? And yeah, we like to crack jokes. Oh, why are they Muslims? Oh, why are they Christians? Bro, it's funny how in Africa, yo, there'll be Christians and Muslims and they'll have all
Oh
these
my
traditions.
God.
Can you
It's just
please?
not the
Can
same.
you, can you
Just not,
please?
it's just not the same. I have a niece that lives in Senegal. She's a cosmetologist in Senegal, in Dakar. I asked her when I visited her years ago, I said, well, what religion are you? She looked me in the face and she said, I'm Christmas. I said, what the hell is Christmas? She said, I'm a little bit Christian, I'm a little bit Muslim. I was stunned. I just kind of looked at her like, what did you say?
Oh man.
But I tell that story to say religion amongst Africa today is not taken as seriously as it is in the West. You will find somebody that's a Christian by day and going to the African shrine at night. And to drive this point home, the Alafin, or which means king of a city named Oyo in Nigeria, he's a Muslim, but participates in every single indigenous ritual of his land. And when they asked him why he participates in this, he said, this is tradition. And that's all he said. That's it.
Yeah, man, this is funny.
That's all he said. He didn't say another word. So these foreign religions are still in Africa, but they're not taken as seriously as we take them. You know, if you tell your mama or your great grandmama that you ain't a Christian, it's gonna be a damn fight in the house, you know. It's not like that in Africa. I had to learn that, you know. Most of my family on my father's side is Muslim. But the more I paid attention, they had some other things going on as well. And when I asked about these other things, I was given a look like I wasn't supposed to know what it was. So, you know, they still practice their indigenous traditions. You got some people that, you know, have converted, hardcore Christians, right? You got some people that, like we talked about, mixed match all over the place, you know, Christians with African stuff. You know, it's not serious for them. Then you got people that are hardline African Kimoyo practitioners that don't, you know, fool with the Christianity and Islam. It's a very small number compared to the first two categories we were talking about, but they do exist, you know, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's funny. So I mean, we just gotta know, man, continental Africans, man, it's a different just mindset, man. And so, in America, you couldn't be a Christian and a Muslim and practice traditional. They ain't like looking at you like you're crazy. We
Nah,
won't
they be showing up at your house trying to convert you to one or two, and
yeah.
you be having interventions. You know, your grandmama be praying for you, and you know, trying to take you to the church 7 days a week, like a lot of us grew up going.
Yeah, it's more political, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's political.
I wanted to read this quote by James Small because you touched on it earlier about the culture. And he says, spirituality guides your life. Culture informs your life. Culture is your primary educational system. It gives you your values, your interests, and your principles. If you are practicing a culture of those who practice genocide against you, then you will practice genocide against yourself. Professor James Small. So I just want to put that on the dome of everybody listening. You got to ask yourself, what culture guides my life? And do you want to change
that? What culture guides your life? I just like to say, for all the young brothers and sisters, and for everybody that's marching outside and burning up stuff and doing the whole 9 yards, I just would like to say, welcome to the party, brothers. Like me and Ben, we've been doing this for a while. Yet people are asking at us, oh, y'all don't got the real information. Y'all, wait a minute, man. We've been liberating the minds of African people, man, for a while, man. We just started groups based off of liberating the African mind. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean? Like, I just like to say, welcome to the party. And don't get mad at me if I'm not overly excited, because this is what
Hey, contrary to popular belief, Black oppression did not come out last week.
Right.
It's been going on for a long time. And I've asked this question consistently.
Thank you.
New brothers and sisters that have had you've had enough. I just want to know, where did you live prior to a month ago? Because I would like to visit. Apparently, there's no racism, white supremacy there. And y'all were all happy until a month ago. And now I just don't get it. Because people are fed up now. People are fed up. That was the last straw. And I'm like, well, why wasn't Freddie Gray and Mike Brown and Alton Sterling and Corin Gaines and Sandra Bland? Why wasn't that the last straw?
Oh man.
I mean, you know, if this, because people put this in terms of war. So if the alarm has been going, if the alarm is sounding now for war, that alarm has been going off since at least 1600s. I just don't understand why you just hearing it now.
Oh,
I mean, you know, because I feel some type of way, because I was called all types of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we was called all hoteps and hotep N-words and hoteps and all this other stuff. Y'all, some of y'all friends called us. I'm not gonna call nobody out, but that's what some people called us.
Yeah.
And now all of your pages look like ours.
Hey man, I'm glad you said it first so they can get you first. But I felt
you get me all you want. I don't care. Hey, let me say this. I'm glad that you finally came to your senses.
Welcome to
I just want to know, for my research purposes, what was it about this particular case with Brother George? Peace be upon him. May he be accepted in the ancestor realm and be united with his clan and kin. But what was it about this case that everybody just said, that's it? I done had it.
I don't know.
I honestly want to know. No funny business. I really want to know what it was that was different about this particular case that, you know, we hadn't seen in the past. I would just like to know. Anybody can reach out to me and tell me what it was different for you. You know, I really would like to know, honestly.
You know what, Ben?
Because, you know, like me and Unc said, we've been pounding the pavement for years. Me and Unc used to get in the car and drive to people's buildings where they were having classes
Oh,
and beat them up on the information
oh yeah, I forgot about
in their own class. We
Hassan.
get up in there and they teaching some crazy stuff. We go in there and beat them up in their own class.
Oh man.
That's just what we used to do.
Yeah. Oh man. They was the days, bro. Oh man.
Hey, we used to go. I tell you, and I tell you, when we used to go to the shrine of the Black Madonna in the
Oh,
West End and go in there and beat them Muslims up. That's just what we used to do.
you call them Muslim, they black Christian nationalists, yo.
And whatever they call themselves. Look, we used to go in there and try to redirect the African mind. We used to go there. We used to go to parks. We used to go to conferences. See, a lot of y'all just know us from that channel that will not be mentioned. But way before that channel, we've been all over trying to redirect people to the African
You spent
mind.
a lot of money, bro. I'm gonna let you know now. You spent a lot of money supporting the brothers, and you never had. I'm gonna say
Man,
again,
they
a lot
used Sky Miles, then used my money,
of bro.
savings, some of everything. Then drove. How about the time I drove from Atlanta all the way to New York? 15-hour drive in the snow, mind you.
Three parking tickets. Add that to the list.
3 parking tickets, which I paid for. All to try to capture some African minds. This is, for me, this isn't a hobby. For me, this
I give
is
you a better. I give you a better one, yo. How about when I don't know if my car wasn't working? I don't know. You dropped all the way to get me. Take me where we was going, and then take me all the way back. Then ride
in
all the way
Dakota, Georgia.
Do you hear me, dude?
First of all, if anybody on the line is from Georgia, you know Dakota from Atlanta is a drive. It's like an hour and 15-minute drive.
Shit, man.
And I went out and picked him up in the boonies where you live, and came and dropped you off and put you back, because you know it's important to be. You never know who you're going to influence.
Yeah, man.
And those of us that are teachers in the community, we always underestimate our influence because we don't understand the magnitude of it. And I bet our master teachers of the past underestimated their influence.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you would have told John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, John G. Jackson, Chancellor Williams, if you had told these guys in their era that they still be talking about them in 2020, they probably wouldn't believe you.
No.
They probably would not believe you. They probably weren't even looking that far ahead. But we're still reading their works, saying their names, keeping their memory alive. I went and saw John Henry Clark's gravesite a couple years ago with Brother Nahisi, and I had to go there and pay my respects of his influence on me. But I bet he didn't even think about that, when he was doing his thing.
You was with us, right? And the Heasy took us up there. That's what you're talking about, right?
No, y'all went with Brother Kurt. I went with Nahisi by myself afterwards.
Oh, okay, yeah. We gotta go back there, yo. I'm gonna do that again. Go down there and see. Go down there and visit Nahisi, man. Go get him some lunch. We should do that when you come back in town, yo.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, go get
Baba John Henry Clark's buried in Columbus, Georgia. I do not remember the name of the cemetery, but I know he's buried in Columbus, Georgia. And I had to go pay respects to the great ancestor that gave not only his time, his patience, but he gave his sight.
Yeah, he read so many books to find himself, yo.
Yeah, I mean, he went blind, and he gave everything he had to this movement. I know, we take that for granted because a lot of people don't know the sacrifices that have to be made for things to be produced and published. And I just wanted to personally go there and say thank you for everything that he did.
Mhm.
And that's just some things that you just got to do. And another thing we got to do is our living elders, James Small, Leonard Jeffries, our elders that's getting up there in age. We gotta, as they say, give them their roses while they're alive to smell them. Because
Yeah.
life is crazy. You never know. I was 2 months from meeting Dr. Ben, and he passed.
I was a plane ride away. Remember, I missed the plane. Reggie set it up for me. Shout out
Oh
to Reggie.
man,
Yeah, man, he died. Yeah, man, he died the next week.
yeah, yeah.
But
I was set up to go to Kemet, but I was flying out of New York, so I was going to stop by his nursing home before I got on the plane.
mhm.
And I had some people hooking it up for this before I even met you.
Mhm.
So I was headed that way. Unfortunately, that's what happened. So I say this to say, you know, when you get the opportunity, make those trips because you never know. You just never know. Life is unpredictable. I've had friends that have their mother, my boy Nick that I went to high school with, his mother, they lost her to COVID-19.
Yeah, that's why, man. I don't want to hear that. It ain't real. Like I don't want to hear it. Speaking of that, man, the mother of my children, brother died from COVID-19.
Oh
So
my
they
goodness.
hit close, man. It's so when I'm that's why I'm banging so hard. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's real, dude. It's real. So look, let's say,
Oh, it's real because if it wasn't real, I'd be able to come home.
yeah, you can't even
I
move.
can't.
No.
I can't even come to the United
Yeah, you
States
ain't been home in a
because
year, bro.
this is real. I'm stuck abroad
Yeah.
because of COVID-19. And now they got these new stipulations to where if you travel, there's got to be a 14-day downward trajectory of COVID-19.
Oh, man, you're in
Got to
trouble.
be a 14
You're in
day downward trajectory of infected patients. It's got to
trouble.
be no travel bans where you going. So it ain't looking good for the kid. But
But you made a sacrifice for the family because you made. If you'd have got stuck here, you wouldn't have been working. You'd have been done. You've been
I'd
done
have
up.
been a bouncer at your local strip club.
Yeah.
Uh, nah, I'm just messing with you.
Bible loud at the door. All right, let me stop. Look,
Yeah.
man.
Let me
Look, we
see your
got
ID.
4 minutes left. What I did was I put the link in the chat. Y'all can come on and ask brother Ben some questions. We gotta pay some bills around here first though. Since I know y'all think it's just a free ride around here. No, it is not. Let me share my screen. Right. Um, Share the screen. Look, man. Make sure y'all hit the daggone cash app, man. All right, $ ANKHKAKEK, man. Man, go ahead and support that on Cash App, man. All right, we gonna keep doing the right thing. You ain't gotta worry about me conning, shook and driving you and faking you out. You ain't gotta worry about that, yo. I'm gonna do the right thing, man. But make sure just support, man. Go ahead, throw that donation there. Anything good, man. All right, anything good. Also, while you at it, man, make sure you support the Spears of the Mossy, right? Warrior Mossy Clan presents the Spears of the Mossy, a historical survey of the minds of African warrior scholars, Value 1, by Kofi Pasa Research Team. Also, you gotta support the first Pan-African Journal. Yo, you got a picture of that, Ben, so I can send it real quick? Man, you let me forget that, bro.
Uh,
Man, yo.
go. Can you go to Amazon on your right
Yes,
there?
yeah, I'm at Amazon right here.
Yeah, go to Amazon real quick.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. Get the Amazon. You get that Amazon. You get the Amazon. All right. Okay, go to Amazon. What do you want me to type in?
Killmonger's Corner.
Okay, that's a good one too, right here, man. I got them on deck too. Killmonger. that.
KILMONGER.
KILMOGER. Killmonger Corner. Killmonger Corner. All right, let's see. All right, we got that right here.
Yeah, go back to sharing your screen.
Yep, of course. All right. All right. Yeah, let me get the screen share right here for y'all, man. Support that Pan African Journal, the first one that we got here. And here we go. All right, right here. Here you
All
go.
right. This is the Conscious Community's first Pan-African Journal, produced by myself. We got articles in here from Malimu Baruti, Brother Asar, Brother Wujawu, Brother Ankh Benu. We got interviews in there. We interviewed Dr. Ma'at. We interviewed a traditional African king in here. We got a whole bunch of stuff in here, artwork, poetry, the whole thing, man. I wanted to show the world that the conscious community weren't just full of crazy people. It was full of very talented, bright, articulate people. And we have, a wealth of knowledge and expertise to provide to the world. So I produced this, put this together. We getting ready for volume 2, dropping in the winter of this year. Uh, so you can buy this on Amazon right there. One thing about people I keep around me, we produce things. We don't just get on YouTube and talk. We don't just holler at you. We don't just tell you about what you should be doing. We show you. We show you in print. We don't just do a bunch of talking. It's a lot of people talking out there, but they don't want to do no work. They can't produce works like this. So, like our ancestors showed us the way, right? Our warrior scholars of the past showed us the way. They showed us the way to have longevity. They showed us the way to become immortal. And this is how you become immortal. You put your stuff on paper. Because, like we talked about earlier, we still talking about John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben Chancellor Williams, John G. Jackson, Sheikh Anta Diop, Theophile Obenga, so on and so forth. Well, we wouldn't be talking about them if they didn't write it down.
Nah, you be trying to remember it,
We be
right?
trying to remember. We like, man, who that one guy, man, the Kemet dude, man. Remember, he was talking about, man, Osiris, and man, I can't remember. But you can remember because we got their records, we got all their books, we got all their stuff. So that's how you become immortal. That's the most powerful form of communication is writing. Don't let nobody tell you different. When you write, somebody from 30, 40, 50, 150 years in the future can communicate with you. They can see what you was talking about back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? We seeing what people like Kwame Ture was talking about back in his time. We seeing what people like Amos Wilson was talking about, Blueprint for Black Power during his time. And we are continuing that African warrior scholar tradition so that they can look back on the 2000 period and say, oh, it was some brothers getting it in and nobody dropped the ball, so to speak. We all got to do our part for our generation, man. This is a generational struggle. So it's going to take many generations for us to get to where we want to be. And we all got to do our part. We all got to do our part. So that's why I produced that journal. That's why our brothers and the Kofi Pi-Sci research team put that together. That's why Ankh produced his books, Chronology of Evolution. That's why Brother Asar writes. That's why Brother Wujawu writes, so on and so forth.
Immortals, yo. We be part of the immortals, no matter what y'all say, man. how about
Exactly.
how about that?
Exactly.
How about that, man? Hmm. How about that? So yeah, man.
Continuing that tradition. We gotta continue that tradition. And most importantly, build upon your ancestors' work. Like Sheikh Joke always told us. Some people could say Diop, it's pronounced Jope. I can't say Diop because I'm Senegalese and my family will kill me. Anyway, what he always said, advance his work, take it further. Don't just take him for face value. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he always said advance his work so we can continue to do that. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. That's African tradition. I am because we are. And notice I didn't say because we was. No, we are. Africans don't talk about people in past tense. They say we are because they still here in one way or the other.
They'll say we was. Okay. So yeah, also get the book Chronology of Human Evolution. This is what I bring to the
Absolutely.
table for everybody, man. I got another joint coming out. I know y'all think it's not, but it's coming. Working on it slowly but surely. Yep, Chronology of Human Evolution. There you go. It's a great read right there. All
Hey,
right.
brother Sean said you gotta approve them to be a panelist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we ready to get to that. I'm coming, Sean. Sir, we doing some promotions right here. Let us promote. Goodness gracious. Black lives always mattered, y'all. All right. Man, I appreciate got a couple donations in, man. Appreciate that. Morris, Galladay, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that support, man. Mr. Brown, man, appreciate that, bro. David Bryant, man, come on, yo. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for all the love. Now let's get to the segment where we, allow the panelists to ask Brother Ben some questions. If you come on here with the nonsense, you're gonna get beat up anyway. You're definitely gonna get beat up. Trust me. And I ain't gotta open my mouth. All right. I don't see you. Where you at, Sean? Sean in here? Let me get Jeremiah in here. All right, you in here.
I ain't no Jeremiah.
Man, you had Jeremiah Judah on your name, yo.
Look what it say.
What it say? What it say? I only see Jeremiah Judah.
It say Jeremiah Judah killer.
Oh man. God dang. What's going on with you, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. What y'all doing, man?
We
It's a
waiting on
good
you.
bill.
Listen, we waiting on you.
I'm here for the shenanigans.
Well, go ahead then. I gotta get the plug for the computer for a die. Keep talking.
Oh, okay. So, Brother Ben,
What you want, man?
people seem to have an issue with us properly defining African traditions and customs and culture. They tend to say that Africa has religion. Now, before you have to repeat yourself again, we've already done this work for the masses and even put pen to paper in some instances to kind of give clarity to what our position is. However, when we look at the Abrahamic faiths and the people in our community that practice those Abrahamic faiths, are these people actually representing the traditions and culture of those Abrahamic faiths in which they subscribe to?
That depends on who you're talking about.
All right, so let's be more specific. When we talk about the NOI per se,
The NOI?
yeah,
No,
okay,
because the Nation of Islam created their own version of Islam to suit the black struggle. So I'm glad you brought them up because if we take the model from the pew and I don't know if they categorize them as this is not or not. I have to look it up. But the Nation of Islam would actually be folk religion
Okay.
because it's not an approved version from the body of Islam that is accepted. So we already talked about the Sunni and the Shiites, which is basically the only two that they really accept as normalized versions of Islam. What Elijah Muhammad did was tweak Islam to the black struggle. That's why you get the stories of Yaqub and the black man is God and Elijah Muhammad is the living God and things like that, right? You're not going to find that in traditional Islam. You're not going to find that amongst the culture associated with the people of Islam. So we talking about, the Arabs and the so-called Middle East. You're not going to find that in their culture. You're not going to find that in what they practice. And I want to be clear. The system of spirituality of Africa is a byproduct of its culture. So the culture encapsulates the Kimoyo. It's all connected. That's not the same with these monotheistic religions as we're discussing now with Islam, because we have an entity of Islam that exists outside the culture of Islam. You don't see them brothers that Sunni and Shiites wearing bow ties and suits.
Right. What about the Israelites?
But that's something that the NOI created.
Oh man.
So they are the subject matter experts on what they created. But it is not traditional Islam in any sort once you get into the avenues of Islam.
Okay. So what about our sisters and brothers that practice this Hebrew Israelite stuff?
They do their best to practice the culture. I'll give them that. They try to dress in uh, the garbs, even though they dress them up a little too jazzy, but they try to do that, and they make the effort. I'll give them that. They make the effort to be Hebrews. I don't know why, but they do.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I'm gonna yield the floor. I'm gonna mute out. Kofi, where you at? Unc, you approve Kofi?
Where did
Where
Unc
Unc
go?
go? His
I don't
show, he ain't approve Kofi.
know.
Kofi, where you at, man? He saying, let me in, Unc. I think Unc might be on his phone or something, yo. We
I'm
went
trying
from
to.
three
Can I?
people to two people.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to see if I could let him. I guess
Jeremiah
not.
keep on saying Africa has religion and they talk to dead people.
Oh, okay. What do you want me to say to that, man?
Yeah, I know. I don't think he can properly understand or define African traditions and customs.
Sometimes the way people phrase things, you can tell they outside of the club trying to get a peek in.
Yeah.
The bouncer then told him he ain't gonna let him in with them shoes on. So they try to get a peek inside, and whatever they see, through whatever information platform that they see, they try to describe it the best they can. And unfortunately, they go repeating this throughout the community. And it just doesn't tell the whole narrative. It just doesn't. And those people I tend not to argue with, because we don't have a base of knowledge to where we can agree on to even discuss things. You got to bring something to the table. Like, you know, if you're an NBA player, you can't argue with a dude at the rec league. You just can't. So I tend to bow out. I was like, yeah, if that's what you think, okay, cool. Now, I want to know how I'm the guest and I end up on this show by myself. How did this happen? Oh, my goodness. All right, so now I'm getting a text message saying that he lost power in his house. Give me 1 second, everybody. Thank you all for listening, by the way. You could be doing anything. I appreciate you taking the time out your day to listen to me. Let me see. I want to see if I can take some questions, at least, before I get out of here. I am King Sosa says StreamYard is terrible. I guess I haven't. Who is Child of Ogun? Who is this? With a Blak Pantha comic as your avatar. Who is Child of Ogun? Identify yourself. I'm a child of Ogun, and I need to know who you is. Who? Yeah, I see you say that is me. What's your Ogun name? He said, that's my alter ego. I'm talking to myself, Sosa. That's what you said. I'm talking to myself. That's my other part, I guess. He ain't gonna identify himself. I wanted to know what his Ogun name was, but guess I'm not gonna get that. So I guess Ankh lost power in his house, and him and Sean then left me high and dry. Somebody says talk about voodoo. Voodoo, in the West African sense, coming out of Benin, is another Kimoyo system, similar to the Orisha system, but the deities have different names due to languages and geographical differences. But one thing that's common between the two systems is both have Egungun. If you don't know what Egungun, that's the ancestral masquerade. And there they go. Sheesh.
Hey, my dad. Hey, look, man, look. You in there, Kofi?
He right there.
Oh, I see him. All right, you should be in there, man. Yeah, my daggone computer go right down us, man. That's what happened, man. And I ain't got the daggone call. Y'all rushed out. Then you was rushing me so hard that I left my daggone call, yo. Crazy. So go ahead and close out, Ben.
Did Kofi want? Oh no, he
Nah,
left.
he did.
Okay.
We'll close out.
Well, before I close out, I want to answer a few questions that people ask. No, I'm not taking any students. I'm still a student myself. I got a long way to go to become a Babalao, contrary to popular belief. You don't become one when you get initiated. You have to work towards that. So, no, I'm not taking any students at this time. But if you want to get involved in the tradition, I can help you out with that.
All right. Freeze that right there, Ben. Freeze that, Ben, because I'm great guy, yo. Where can everybody contact you at, bro? They can send their questions to you.
You can contact me on Facebook. My real name is Benjamin Njai. My last name is spelled Njie. So you can hit me on there. You can hit me on Instagram, Blak Pantha Seher, which is spelled BlakPanthaSerer. And those are probably the best ways to get in contact with me. Brother Sutek asked a good question. I'm gonna answer this question and then we can close it out. He said break down the different types of Egun. First, I need to address this, and people are gonna be mad, but whatever. Egun or Egungun, it's not spelled Egun.
Hold on. Hey, you know what, Ben? I'm gonna start another link, yo, because once I get out of here, I ain't gonna be able to turn the daggone thing off, yo. All right, so I'll send y'all another link, yo. If you still around.
Man, just let me answer this question. We can close out.
If it die in between that, go hurry up, Ben, because it's great die, yo. Hurry up. Sure.
Okay. Egun is Eegun. That's how you spell Egun the way you want to say it. Egun actually means curse. I'm not sure if people understand that. Now, Eegun and Egungun are the same word. So Egungun and Egun are the same word. The different types of Egun depend on the society. Hunters Egun, Ode. Egun amongst the Oshun people is different. Egun amongst the Oya people are different. All of the masquerades are different, and they're by society. So there's not like one general type of Egun. They all belong to different systems or Orisha in different societies. I hope that answered your question.
Hey, look, appreciate you coming through, Ben, man. It was a powerful interview, man. Glad everybody came through. Make sure y'all support Kofi Pasa research team, Spirits of the Mossy, man. Support Abs UA, man. Got them shirts hot off the press, man. Black Lives Always Matter, Space Age African. Support that, man. Make sure y'all hit that Cash App, man. And I always appreciate all the support, man. We're going to be on again next week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's our time, man. We're growing. And I appreciate all the daggone support, man. Shout out to you, Sean, man. Your towering work and your unwavering support. You know what I'm saying? When nobody even has to ask you. You know what I mean? We appreciate all that, man. Pseudo Killers on deck, man. Appreciate you, brothers, man. Pseudo Killers is powerful and dynamic, man. Check this out, man. Thanks for coming through, yo. Check this out. We out.
Peace.